Good evening and welcome to News 360. We are live from the News Hub here at Adesanwe in Accra. I'm Solis Rose Corte.
Hello, my name is Issa Moni. We have the headlines for tonight coming up in just a jiffy.
360 Headlines is brought to you by...
And tonight's police arrest Kofi Sechi, together with 4 others suspected to have shot and killed a police chief inspector in a dawn raid at the Kwabenya police station.
And fresh images of Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia strolling the streets of London emerge on social media after rumors that he had suffered a stroke.
And on the international front, gunmen killed at least 14 soldiers in an attack on a Mali camp.
Well, all these and more coming up, including sports and entertainment, in the next 60 minutes. Now, let's start off with what has been trending on social media pretty much all day. And fresh images of Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and his wife Samira have emerged on social media, with the two taking a stroll on the streets of London. The Vice President has been on medical leave in the United Kingdom for the past 1 week.
The images which surfaced early Saturday morning show Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia walking with his wife Samira and responding to pleasantries from some Ghanaians on the streets of London.
Christian or something.
The video, which portrays a buoyant Bawumia, appears to be a direct response to rumors that made rounds on social media earlier that he had suffered stroke. Earlier this morning, Information Minister Mustafa Hamid had revealed that he had a conversation with Dr. Bawumia, whom he said was doing very well and will be back home very soon.
Right, you're on News 360, and we got to speak to Dr. Mesan Mawugbe. It's a political communications analyst. And the issue, of course, is about the Vice President, His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. We heard about rumors on social media that the Vice President suffered a stroke attack. Do you suspect this video released is a direct response?
Thank you very much. Since if you follow how the health of His Excellency the Vice President has been communicated to us as a nation, there has been a bit of a political communication gap that has been created. For instance, we were told that he's been flown to UK for medical leave. And that phrase alone, it's already embedded or leads to so many meanings that people can read into it, because having a medical leave could mean that he's going to rest, or it could mean also that he's going to seek medical attention, which you were not really told. So when it comes to political communication, the first thing one needs to take care of is to be very straightforward, to be very truthful. But when you look at the video that we're looking at now, I must say that this video hasn't got any official underpinnings, because before His Excellency the Vice President was flown out of the country, a press release was issued. So I think every political communication should have an opening and a closure. We cannot use this video as a closure, because we don't know even where it's coming from. And I don't think the presidency would like to communicate about the health of His Excellency the Vice President through a video, because we were not given a video from the beginning as the opening part of the political communication or the conversation. So we cannot use this. But then one can also say that it's rather been adding to the rumor. And I think that is why you and I and the viewers and the listeners, we are discussing this because of the political communication gap that has been created. And I think we also need to be very mindful that the health of His Excellency the Vice President has a correlation between investor relations. So we should be very mindful as to how we handle it, how we treat it. We cannot just treat it anyhow. And I remember recently the information minister was also asked a question, relating to the health of by someone that the person was saying that, well, Mr. Gabi Ochre has also made certain commentary, and he said that he was very specific, which I think was very right. He said, Mr. Hamid said that Mr. Gabi Ochre doesn't speak for the government. So we don't need a video to counter a rumor. We need to be told. So I would say that as a nation, we should ignore the video because we were not informed through video, and we can also use video as a closure to the ongoing conversation.
Right, but Dr. Maugbe,
Vice President's health.
Hello, Dr. Maugbe. So
Yes.
Is that also not an indication that the Vice President has recovered? He is now fit, he is walking about, he is not suffering any stroke attack, and that very soon he will come back home to continue his work to curtail the continuous swearing in of Speaker of Parliament as, interim president?
From a professional point of view,
and
from the professional point of relation to the presidency, as the seat of the government, we cannot use this video as any basis to suggest the health status of His Excellency the Vice President. We can't use it. From a professional point of view, I will ignore it because we were told, we were officially informed about his health, and finally we were also informed that he was being thrown out of the country, and now we are being bombarded with a video, and you expect us as a nation, as a country, as investors to accept that? No. No one is going to take that video serious. It's rather feeding into the gap that has been created through the political rumor that was created through the way the presidency communicated about His Excellency the Vice President's health.
All right, Dr. Mesan Maugbe, political communications analyst, we are grateful for your time. He says we should ignore the video on Vice President Mamudu Bawumia walking with his wife in London, portraying that he is fit and back to life. Solis.
Well, let's still stay with issues regarding the VIP's absence from the country as the minority in Parliament wants the president to reduce his foreign trips until the vice president returns from his medical leave. Now, this follows the swearing in of the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Aaron Maya-Gukwe, as a president for the second time this week.
I further solemnly swear
that should I at any time break this oath of office,
that should I at any time break this oath of office.
The Speaker of Parliament took the presidential oath as well as the oath of allegiance as administered by the Chief Justice in accordance with Article 60, 11 and 12.
And suffer the penalty for it.
So help me God.
So help me God.
This makes it twice in this week. The Speaker was sworn in as President last Sunday when the President travelled to Liberia.
Must the Speaker of Parliament repeat the oath of allegiance? My position is Section 3 of the Oath Act of 1972 is against the repetition of oaths. And just within the span of less than 10-14 days, the same Speaker of Parliament, who swore an earlier oath of allegiance, swore one just a few days ago, is being made to swear another oath of allegiance. In my view, that is legally needless.
Article 68 reads, whenever the President is absent from Ghana or is for any other reason unable to perform the functions, which means that absence from Ghana is construed to be one of the inabilities to perform functions. So you cannot disconnect A from B. That's because this is the Queen's language. And those of them with proficiency in the quiz language should be able to teach those of them with some inability in the quiz language.
According to a Supreme Court ruling in 2015, the Speaker is obliged to take the oath of office as President whenever both the President and his vice are out of the jurisdiction. The minority is now calling for the President to reduce his international travels under the circumstance.
Given the situation surrounding the health of the Vice President, we are of the humble opinion that the President could have detailed Minister for Foreign Affairs and other high-ranking government officials to represent him, one at the funeral and also at the AU summit. He ought not to jet off to a funeral and jet off to the AU summit.
They want the Constitution to be clear on the duties of the acting president.
It's also a matter that is engaging the public debate as to whether or not, when a speaker has been sworn in, or when the situation arises, the Chief Justice is sworn in as an acting president, whether she can or he can function, take all executive decisions, including hiring and firing, including mobilizing an army. And these are also matters we must also debate.
A legal practitioner and MP for Gomoa West does not see this as an issue.
Just for purposes of maybe emergencies and all that, if we see that there is some kind of aggression on Ghana, who is going to lead the charge, who is going to give the command and all that? I believe short of that, the position will just be ceremonial, caretaker.
Political analyst and senior lecturer at the University of Education, Winneba, Dr. Ahmed Jinapor, says it is morally right and justifiable for the public to know the Vice President's state of health. Speaking on TV3 New Day on Saturday, he argued it is the responsibility of government to inform Ghanaians about Dr. Bawumia's health condition.
I think government owes us a responsibility to give us at least the status of the health of the Vice President. Where is he? Is he in a hospital? Is he in a rental apartment? Who is paying for it? I mean, we have a foreign mission in the UK.
Member of the NDC communications team, Abraham Amaliba, agrees.
Even if he's in a rented apartment, I'm sure it's the taxpayer who's paying for it. So we need to know what is happening to our Vice President.
But Eastern Regional Vice Chairman of the ruling New Patriotic Party, Nana Fredua Jimanofuriata, said the health status had already been disclosed.
Ghanaians were informed what the status of
Vice President.
The Vice President was. And we've been told that his situation is such that he needs to rest. That is the state of affairs.
On the refugee status of the Gitmo 2 detainees, legal practitioner Martin Kpebu called for more public education to dispel fears among the populace that the two constitute a security threat.
We should educate our populace well to trust our national security apparatus, that they are fully in control. There should be no panic. If they really constituted a threat, I have no doubt that by now they would have been repatriated.
Now let's move away from everything that has to do with the Vice President's absence from the country and do some issues regarding security. The police have arrested the man suspected to have pulled the trigger that killed the late Chief Inspector Emmanuel Asilevi during the dawn raid at the Kwabenya police station and 4 others. The suspected killer was arrested at Kaswa in the Central Region on Saturday, January 27.
The suspected cop killer, 28-year-old Kofi Seshi, and his accomplices were arrested by the Accra Regional Police Command at Kaswa in the early hours of Saturday, January 27. The other accomplices are 23-year-old George Saba, George Asante, 33, Theophilus Banda, 25, and Elvis Owusu, 31. This brings to 9 the number of persons so far arrested. On Friday, January 26, the police announced the arrest of 4 persons in connection with the murder of the Chief Inspector. Those arrested included 2 each of the escapees and those who carried out the attack on the police station. The Inspector General of Police, David Asante Pietu, at a media briefing also announced a 15,000 cedis reward for anyone who will assist the police in apprehending the perpetrators of the heinous crime on Sunday, January 21.
And on the rest of the suspects, ACP David Senanu Ekulu is the Director General of Police Public Affairs Directorate. He has joined us on the phone. Good evening, Chief, and thank you for agreeing to speak to us.
Good evening. Thank you for bringing me on air.
Right, sir. So, can you confirm that one Seshi has been arrested in connection with the death of the police officer at Kwabenya?
Yes. As we indicated, indicated that we would want to effectively update the public our progress that we are making in the investigation. And as we have already stated in a statement we put out a short while ago, we have arrested 4 persons in Kaswa in the early hours of the yesterday, this morning. And among those arrested is one Seshi who has been identified, and information revealed that he is the one who shot and killed the police inspector on the 21st of this month, that Sunday at Kwabenya.
Did you already know him as somebody who has been committing crimes, or it was this event at Kwabenya police station which brought him to the fore?
Yes, the information we have is that he's noted in that area as a very notorious criminal, and and he was mentioned by those that we had already arrested who are in custody as the one who actually did the crime. And when we moved in, he was arrested in a place that the community identified as a noted criminal den, where criminals they use as a safe haven to commit crimes. So we have all the links to show that yes, he has that criminal record, and that he was the one who shot and killed the inspector.
How sure are you that he is involved in this? Was it because his name was mentioned?
Apart from that, we also have other information that we put at the appropriate time to prove that he is the one who shot and killed the inspector.
How about the 4 others? What have they done in connection with the death of the police officer?
Yeah, they were arrested based on information, and we also have information that they are also involved in some crimes that have been committed in Accra and Kaswa in the past. So we are putting all together to make sure that we get the right evidence to put them before court.
Right, ACP, we are grateful for your time. Thank you for speaking to us. Right.
Now let's head to the Western region, where 5 persons lost their lives on Friday when an ambulance conveying a sick person and 3 others collided head-on with a diesel-articulated truck moving towards Aso on the Biehuapoa-Takwat Road in the Western region.
Senior specialist and head of department at the Efiankwanta Accident and Emergency Ward, Dr. Edward Kingsley Amihe, confirmed the death of the 5th person to TV3. He said the 5th person died as a result of severe head fracture.
Currently, the surviving driver is doing very well. We are keeping him under observation, and we're hoping that within the next few days, he can be discharged home.
Dr. Amihe cautioned ambulance drivers to drive with care, especially when approaching residential areas.
If you happen to be on a highway where there isn't much traffic, that one you can drive at any speed you like. But when you are within residential areas, it is just necessary that you slow down a little bit. I think the speed was just too great.
Now, a school is an avenue for building a better future, but for teachers and pupils of Ifia Methodist Basic School in Takoradi, it may be a source of health problems as they are confronted with stench and smoke from a nearby public toilet and refuse dump daily. Now, Loveridge and Prechum Ochre reports a footbridge which gives them access to the school has also deteriorated.
The refuse dump has been at this site for over 10 years, and throughout this period, teachers and pupils of the Ifia Methodist School have been enduring a bad stench. The head teacher, Mercy Eninfo, says the stench and smoke from the area is adversely affecting academic work in the school.
When the smokes come, the children here cannot do their studies well. The teachers cannot teach well. We have to wait till the smoke pass before we continue with our study. And this also affects the study here. The stench of the refuse coupled with the piggery behind the refuse is also disturbing us. At times we can't stay.
But that is not their only challenge. A footbridge leading to the school is also deteriorating, putting the lives of both pupils and teachers at risk.
This bridge, I even fell in and then I had problem with my leg. So please, if they can do something about it, I think it will be very good for us. They can change everything for us.
Some pupils shared their frustrations.
The bridge is very weak and risky for we the students and at times even people who pass on it. So we are pleading with the government to do something about this situation.
When we are in class and that smoke comes into our classrooms, sometimes the teachers allow us to go out.
The Northern Region Information Services Department says it is handicapped to deliver efficient services. With 5 broadcasting vans, the department is struggling to reach inhabitants in all 26 districts in the region to educate them on key government policies for the 2018 fiscal year.
The service has a core responsibility of educating and explaining government policies to citizens. The essence is to get citizens to make contributions to policies before implementation. However, the Northern Regional Information Services Department lacks adequate logistics and resources to undertake such exercises. They have been struggling to reach all 26 districts in the region. This, the Regional Information Officer, Akanlo Akanwariwen George, says they are constrained.
We normally receive funding for a certain number of vans, and then some of the funds are also used for radio discussions. In the olden days, there were nothing like radio discussions. And now that we are incorporating radio discussions, TV activities and others, then we incorporate that with a few of the vans to also continue, especially in the rural districts, to educate the people on the government policies.
With few available resources, Akanlo Awarwin George hinted the department will select key policies to educate the public on. The One District, One Factory, One Village, One Dam, the Free Senior High School, Planting for Food and Jobs, and 1 million per constituency will be given the needed attention. The broadcast and education exercise is expected to get citizens to make input to the policies prior to implementation.
It's now time for us to do Mission. Mission is supported by Star Ghana with funding from Danida, UK Aid and the European Union. Let's start off from the Upper West region. And they attend school every day, hoping for a conducive environment for studies. Now, children of Kulpom Primary School in the Upper West region, however, do not have this. They rather uncomfortably sit, lie or squat on the floor for hours listening to their teachers.
It is another day, and the children expect to be taught new things. School is exciting, and so many are happy.
Standing on the wall. Standing on the wall. One name Peter. One name Peter. One name Paul. One name Paul.
They have come from far and near. Some commute over 1 hour to school, and yet the joy of coming brings them here every day. The school feeding program is an attraction. Many come clutching what to them is life. But uncomfortably, they have to endure what even adults will shudder at being made to go through. The children have to endure long hours of pain and agony. Teachers teach, but are uncomfortable themselves. Put up in 2011, the Kurupong Primary School was not lucky. The contractor did not provide furniture, leaving teachers with no option than to start school with kids sitting on the floor. This is certainly not an ideal situation. About 70 of them crammed in this classroom here. Now, this is the formative stage, and this is where these kids are learning to write the alphabet. They need to perfect it in their build-up to primary 2, primary 3, and beyond. But here you can see them, they are compelled to lie, sometimes flat on their belly to write. A difficult situation education authorities are grappling with to fix the problem of furniture in basic schools in the district. For 6 years, school officials have begged for furniture. From kindergarten 1 to 2 and on, every pupil is inconvenienced. At the PTA level, efforts have been made to secure furniture.
We sent it to the district assembly, and they said they will come and look at it. When the DC came there and see the situation we have here, but they said they are still on it.
School teachers have also used social media to help secure furniture, but all to no avail. The upper primary level is not spared. Furniture is few here. It is first come, first served. Coming to school early is therefore the only way to secure a seat for the day. Even the few here are under pressure.
Our first effort is at the school level, because at all our PTA and SMP meetings, we always ask them to look at the situation. They will come in, we'll take them through the classes for them to look at the situation of the people while they are sitting on the floor. And first effort is from them. Some of them started constructing furniture for themselves. Like if you look at the classroom, you see some of the furniture they have constructed. That's the first effort we have put in through the parents. We've written a number of letters to the GS office. But the request for us to give the office the situation of our schools.
The Education Directorate is simply begging for a savior to provide furniture for these kids.
At the BEC level, we were second from the bottom in the National League table. And 2015, we went to 74th position. And the enrollment too has improved. Teacher situation has also improved a little. So there is a tremendous improvement in the education regards to academic work, staffing situation, and even community commitment towards supporting education in the district. And UNICEF is doing very well in this regard, and Plan Ghana.
At the assembly level, motions are being moved to push for provision of furniture, but funding is a challenge.
I realize that we still need more infrastructure for some communities. If we also go to the area of accommodation, you realize that most of the schools that we have in Wa East District, we don't have teachers accommodation. Teachers in such communities actually do suffer because those that are even closer to Wa will have to live in Wa and commute to the schools every day. So that actually sometimes can cut away some working hours.
The District Education Directorate says records indicate education is improving, but agrees that a lot more is needed by way of infrastructure, teachers, and teaching and learning materials to see a complete transformation. Right, Nanafo, TV3.
Well, now to the eastern region, but still on education, and lack of adequate infrastructure and teaching aids at Nyame-Betre in the Nsawam Ado-Adjiri municipality is affecting delivery of quality education. Now, 4 classes are held in 1 class.
Nyame-Betre, a typical farming settlement in the Nsawam Ado-Adjiri municipality of the eastern region, is less densely populated, but residents contribute their quota to the country's food security. Nyame-Betre, like other adjoining communities, is underdeveloped because they have been neglected by successive governments. Children in this part of the Nsawam Ado-Adjiri municipality did not go to school because they could not trek the 4 miles to access nearby schools.
Children in this community often fall sick after trekking long distance to school in adjoining communities. We need an alternative.
This was until the residents took the initiative to establish this school, and now the children can receive formal education, but this comes with a challenge.
Those who are in class 2 and those who are in nurseries up to KG1, they are combined in 1 classroom. So early in the morning, you see the children, that is where they start learning. So in the beginning, they'll start reciting their poems, so whilst the basic 2 move out of the class to stay under a tree.
The school has only 2 sheds with limited teaching staff. 1 semi-makeshift structure accommodates 4 classes, while the other serves 2 classes. Concentration in each class is difficult, especially when all classes under the shed are in session.
It's not easy because whilst they are reading, they'll be distracting those who are in the basic 2 classroom. So it's not easy. Sometimes you need to talk on top of your voices so that they can hear what you are saying.
Some nursery pupils come to school with little or no feeding fee at all, a situation subjecting some of them to hunger, thereby making it difficult for them to concentrate in class. Pupils in this school, after graduating from class 3, will stop because there are no additional classrooms to accommodate them. Pupils go in search of stones to support the construction of additional structure. Head of the school, David Brown, says he is forced to transport teachers and pupils to and from school daily with his motorcycle. Poor education is not the only problem facing Nyame-Betre. Parents say the absence of social amenities, including a health facility and electricity in Nyame-Betre and adjoining communities, compound their plight.
For a long time, the MP said that he was coming to help the community. But almost 5 months, they have already put in the pole. But till now, there is no wire, but the wire other place.
There is no clinic in this community. The distance we cover to access healthcare is worrying. Provision of a CHIPS compound will help us.
They want their challenges addressed.
Well, that's all for Mission tonight. Mission is supported by Star Ghana with funding from UKAID, Danida and the European Union. Over to you, Isa.
Right, Solis, and you were saying the story reminds you of something, a story that you did.
Oh, I just wanted to say good evening to the MCE of the Gan South Municipality, Joseph Stephen Nyani. Good evening.
Right, I'm sure he's heard you. Now let's move on to some other stories tonight. Government is to reconsider the 15 million cedis capital requirement for savings and loans companies. Addressing representatives of the Association of Savings and Loans Companies during a courtesy call at the Flagstaff House, President Akufo-Addo lauded the contribution of the sector to the economy and promised to look into concerns over capital requirements.
The association was at the presidency to introduce the group to the president and to find ways by which they can fit into the various programs of government. The association said the speculated capitalization increase from its current minimum level of 15 million Ghana cedis will negatively affect their businesses, particularly the 86% of members who are indigenous Ghanaian businesses.
In the past, we do what we call money remittance business. And in the past, we used to get a portion of the settlement in foreign currency. But since 2017, Your Excellency, this has been cancelled. We also have issues about how our capital adequacy is calculated, where institutional placements is not taken into account. Indeed, the Bank of Ghana raised it 100% risky, and therefore they don't take it into account when we are calculating our capital adequacy requirement, which is a measure of our sustainability. And this is affecting us greatly.
President Akufo-Addo assured, together with his economic management team, who will look into their concerns.
Small and medium-scale enterprises are the Ghanaian economy. The big names are few and far between of these mega companies that we hear about, but in actual terms represent a relatively small part of the Ghanaian economy. The Ghanaian economy is dominated by small and medium-scale enterprises. So you who are the conduit for financing small and medium-scale enterprises, you have a particularly important role in the economy of our country.
And still on the presidency, President Akufo-Addo has charged awardees of the first Gender and Development Initiative for Africa Advocates Charge Award to promote gender equality in their respective corporate areas. Speaking at the first Guardia Advocates Awards held at the Flagstaff House, the president said promotion of gender equality at workplace, particularly in the private sector, is vital in Africa's quest to eradicate poverty across the continent.
The Gender and Development Initiative for Africa Advocates Charge Awards is a premier advocacy award instituted by President Akufo-Addo and the Guardia to support sustainable contributions towards gender equality and the progress of women employed within the private sector. The award will be bestowed upon a specific number of prominent businessmen across the continent who will be charged by the President as AU Gender Champion for the continent to take concrete and measurable steps within their respective companies to enhance gender equality over a particular period of time. The top 8 Ghanaian businessmen selected for the role received the conferment and the charge. They include Roy Opoku, CEO of Ocelot and Investor Capital, Dr. Kofi Amwaban, CEO of Rigworld Services Limited, Dr. Zibrim Yamusa, CEO of Yamusa Group of Companies, Dr. Kwabene J, CEO of Kasapreko Company Limited, Dr. Yao Edu Jemfi, CEO, Dampong Group of Companies, Dr. Ose Kwame Despite, CEO of Despite Group of Companies, Mr. Alberto Say, CEO of Coco King Limited, and Mr. Kwesi Chum, founder and CEO, Multimedia Group Limited. A special award was presented to President Alpha Conde of Guinea, which was received by the Guinea ambassador to Ghana, Kabal Alfan. Minister for Business Development Ibrahim Mohamed Awal said businesses tend to grow rapidly when women are given opportunities.
At the Ministry of Business Development, we've trained 7,000 young businessmen and women over the last 2 months, and 52% of this are women. We've established the biggest dome greenhouses business in Africa at Douenya, 75 of them. Each of the dome has employed 20 people, and 51.8% of the employees are women. Our aim is to ensure that we create a space for women to grow. It's been established that where women are involved in decision-making, the family is improved.
President Akufo-Addo urged the various top CEOs to do all they can to support the movement to bring gender equality within the African continent.
In Ghana, 51% of our population is female. This statistic is also representative of the African condition and means that the empowerment of our women and ensuring gender equality constitutes fundamental challenges for our development. Meeting that challenge is one of the best ways of rooting our poverty and guaranteeing the progress and prosperity of our country and continent.
The event was under the theme, Making Gender Equality the Private Sector's Business.
Let's jump into agri issues now. And the Director of the Plant Protection and Regulatory Service Directorate, Ebenezer Abuaji, says fall armyworm is yet to be defeated, needing immediate national attention to fight it. According to him, it is more difficult to control owing to their swift migration, covering hundreds of kilometers in a night.
The fall armyworms invaded farms in Ghana in 2016 and covered the entire country by July 2017. They live on over 80 plant species, including field plants, vegetables, and largely on maize plants. Director of the Plant Protection and Regulatory Services Directorate, Ebenezer Abuaji, explained the eggs of the armyworm could easily be controlled whilst their eggs are not being hatched on the leaves of the crops. He says it becomes more difficult to control them when they enter into the plant.
That makes it very difficult to control, because if the maize is not there, then if the millet is there or the sugarcane is there, they also feed on that plant. That's why it's always difficult to control the fall armyworm. That's why you're always saying that once they are in Ghana, you have to always try to manage them, because you can never eradicate them from the country.
Some selected media houses visited a maize farm at Kradaso Agric farming land, which had been affected by the worms in spite of government's control measures. The Deputy Minister for Agriculture in charge of crops, Dr. Sagre Bambangi, said the government responded immediately to address the outbreak of the armyworm by releasing 15.8 million cedis in 2017. The Deputy Minister for Agriculture in charge of crops, Dr. Sagre Bambangi, said the government responded immediately to address the outbreak of the armyworm by releasing 15.8 million cedis in 2017. He was hopeful that in 2018, the fall armyworm may be drastically reduced as the ministry had prepared in advance.
The government and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture did our best to ensure that nationally, at the macro level, the incidence was not so devastating such that we will not have enough food in this country for our citizens.
Dr. Sagre Bambangi urged the media to constantly educate farmers on the need to control the pest as early as possible.
It is a host to many plants. You cannot totally eradicate it. So it could be hiding in the bushes and multiplying. And so in the next cropping season, we just have to put our axe well together again.
The Ministry of Gender and Social Protection has announced plans to increase the LEAP beneficiaries to include breast and cervical cancer patients. Speaking in an interview with TV3 in Kumasi, Sector Minister Otiko Afisa Jaba said the support will absorb some of the cost of treatment and other medical expenses.
The LEAP program, since its inception, has supported some marginalized persons in the country. This month marks 52nd cycle LEAP payment. During this period, beneficiary households will receive their cash grants in the 216 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies across the country. One eligible member household will receive 64 cedis. 2 eligible member household will receive 76 cedis, while 3 eligible member household will receive 88 cedis, and 4 and more eligible member households will receive 106 cedis. The sector minister, Afisa Jaba, visited Kumasi to monitor the operations of LEAP in the region, where she also interacted with the beneficiaries. She encouraged beneficiaries to report staff who may try to extort monies from them.
We also don't charge for anything for any LEAP beneficiary. For the chairs and the canopies, whatever it is, the machines, the e-switch, all of those things, the Ministry of Gender provides money to GIBS and to the rural banks to pay them. So if anybody tells you that you should pay some amount for anything, please do not do it.
The sector minister mentioned other beneficiaries on the expansion list as people who suffer fistula, sickle cell anemia, cerebral palsy, among others.
You're watching News 360. We will return shortly with the latest from the world of sports.
Good evening, and it's time for us to bring you every bit of detail in the world of sports right here on News 360 with me, Thierry Nyan. Now let's start off with some women's football in Cape Coast. And Ghana's under-20 female national team hammered Cameroon by 3-0 in Saturday's second leg of the final qualifier to reach the World Cup in France. The Black Princesses completely dominated the match and eliminated their opponents on a 4-1 aggregate following the first leg played in Yaoundé 2 weeks ago. Ghana drew 1-1 with Cameroon in the first leg qualifier a fortnight ago, and they were poised to eliminate Cameroon to qualify to the biennial tournament. Over to some boxing news, and the defending IBO lightweight champion Emmanuel the Game Boy Tego has predicted a 6th round knockout against his challenger Fernando David Saucedo. The boxer again warned his opponent to prepare for the stretches if he dares him beyond the round 9.
Bukom Boxing Arena came alive Friday morning as the two boxers made their way into the inner perimeters to be weighed. Emmanuel the Game Boy Tego took the turn and weighed 134.8 pounds, attracting loud cheers from the patrons. Fernando David El Vasco Saucedo mounted the scale next and weighed 135 pounds. The two boxers then faced off, warning each other ahead of the challenge Saturday night at the Bukom Boxing Arena in Accra. This would be Emmanuel the Game Boy Tego's first defense of the World Boxing Organization IBO title he won on December 2, 2016. His earlier attempt in 2017 could not materialize as there was no opponent to fight him.
All right, so that bout is tonight. Let's see exactly how that would go for Emmanuel Game Boy Tego. But let's do some hockey now, and the host and win analogy materialized on Saturday as the GRA ladies team made Ghana proud by winning the competition at the Theodosia Oko Hockey Stadium. Benoni was there and has come through with this report.
With no male team left in the competition to represent Ghana in the final, all the attention is on the ladies' team. The Theodosia Oko hockey pitch was parked and charged for the final. The Telkom Orange from Kenya on Saturday marked their second consecutive final against the GRA ladies of Ghana. The encounter delivered to the core as it took to the last minute of the fourth quarter for both teams to be separated. Roberta Safua's remarkable goal was what separated the two sides. She says her joy is immeasurable.
I'm so happy, more than the word happy, because I have made my mind that I will win for my team. I will not let the trophy go back to Kenya again. That's why I try my best to score the goal so that I will win for Ghana.
The captain of the GRA team also expressed her joy and says the future of the team is bright.
I think we have more players in the GRA team who are playing in the national team, so I think it will go a long way. It will benefit them because the tournament is just closer. So with this, it will take them through. So it's a stepping stone for them to just go and make it out for them.
Captain of the Kenyan team, Tracy Karanja, praised the Ghanaian team for an excellent showdown.
The Ghanaian teams are good and they're coming up well. They're giving us Kenyans a run for our money, but even us, we are not sleeping.
Elsewhere in the men's division, defending champions El Shakir from Egypt defeated their compatriot East Company by 1-0 to retain the trophy.
All right, so that's exactly where we bring an end to the sports bulletin tonight. With me, Thierry Nyan. It's now time for some entertainment news. Solis Rose Corte brings us that.
Well, entertainment news up next. In entertainment tonight, 2 years ago, the Media General Group inaugurated 2 radio stations aimed at changing the media landscape and telling stories that matter to the people. Onya and 3FM have not only provided the platform for fair and balanced reportage, but have also told the stories at the heart of communities across the nation.
The way to my yetu mejina ma yezi afi bien na one way ejuma na nkasa so se minya honzi pincha mama hondo esi mko because why ejuma pa
and let ba papa ye be ka se ye nyina nkasa onua bobra papa se odware bobra pamu enu nti ye nyina bebo mu ni apapa mu onua ya esi mu ma
in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Thank you to the wonderful crew here who continue to give us really good, interesting programs. And a very, very big congratulations to everybody, to all of us, from those who started to those who are taking it forward. And congratulations all around. Those of you who are tuning in for the first time, we expect you to be back and call your friends and ask them to tune in because you have the very best shows on 3FM.
Now to some international news. An unidentified gunman on Saturday killed at least 14 soldiers in central Mali, an area targeted by a growing wave of attacks by Islamist militants when they overran a military camp. West Africa's arid Sahel region is suffering a spike in violence by militant groups, some with links to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State, that is drawing an increasingly aggressive response from countries including France and the United States.
Well, that's all for News 360 tonight. My name is Solace Rose Corte. Thanks for watching.
I'm Issa Moni. You can continue with the rest of the stories that are of interest to you on our website. Have a wonderful evening. Should have